Hey yogis, welcome. Good Sunday morning. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining me for another live stream practice. We're going to start sitting on our mats today. Welcome, welcome, and good morning, all of that. Hope you're feeling okay. I'm Lorelei of Namasturm Yoga. I think most of you know me if you're here joining me live. If you're not joining live and joining at another time, welcome as well. And I'm seeing Stretch Adams in the comments. Hello, Stretch. Good to see you. Thanks for being here with us today. And let's go ahead and just sit for a minute, right? So hands to knees. Let the back of the neck get a little long. Try to have those shoulders over the hips. Close your eyes just for a moment. So this is just prep. We are about to practice. And this is a lot more like about kind of mindset, allowing our pace to slow down. Granted, if you are practicing with me on Sunday and it is in the morning, your pace might already be slow. Me personally, that is kind of where I'm at, but it's just a chance to kind of transition if you're at home, particularly from your day, your morning, your sleep to your practice. And then let's just take the arms out wide. Just take them out, palms face forward, and let yourself almost like you're gonna push the backs of the hands back. Maybe lift the head and the chest a little bit and open. And then on an exhale, curl on in and just give yourself a big hug. And I'm gonna probably squish my mic here, but that's the way it goes. And then inhale to open and exhale to curl in. Continue to follow a little flow with breath here. And then coming out of that little sequence, let's go ahead and just move to a seated twist. Left hand to your right knee, turning over your shoulder. Here's where I look out my window, and it's snowing, which I know the weather's not that interesting, but it's March in Chicago. Snow's not unusual. What is unusual is that yesterday it was in the 60s Fahrenheit, and on Friday it was like 78 degrees, which is summer weather. So the transition is just bizarre. Let's go ahead and twist the other direction. Right hand to left knee, turn over the shoulders. Yeah, Friday I was inside all day, and then I was getting ready to go out for a walk and thinking, well, what kind of jacket should I wear? And I checked the weather. I was like, oh, I guess I do not need one. Come on back to center. And let's just move to hands and knees, coming to tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. I will in a moment switch to a little bit wider view, but I think we're still close. We keep it close for a minute here. Cat-cow. Inhale, head and tail lift, chest and belly drop. Oh, feel your spine. Notice how it's doing today. Exhale to cat, rounding the spine, lifting up out of your shoulder blades. Just notice what the range of motion feels like here. We want to try to use the whole spine and not just the low back, right? So the upper back is really mobile as well, or at least has the potential of being really mobile. So give yourself a chance to use your whole back. And sometimes, I feel like I round weird, I pop up in certain spots more than others. I don't know, I notice that when I'm on camera, but you might notice some areas are just more naturally mobile than others, and we're gonna try to get some movement in the spots that are maybe a little less so for you. Without forcing, without causing pain or distress, because that's never the goal, right? We know that. All right, and then let's just go ahead and sit back on our feet, coming to hero pose. Take the shoulders back and down a couple of times here. And I'm just in the mood to go into a rabbit pose here. Maybe not the time in class when we often do this, but if you want to join me, interlace your fingers behind your back, shoulders back, and then keeping the hips on the heels to get it set up. Start to bring your forehead down to the floor. And then it's just a matter of like rolling to the top of your head. And I have, of course, hair on the top of my head today, but it'll work out. And then the arms reach up and over as the hips come over the knees. And then rolling back out, forehead comes to the floor, hips to heels, and come back up. And let's make our way into downward facing dog. So I'm going to bring you into my full room now. I feel like the lighting's a little better in my whole room and with that view as well. But tuck your toes, lift your knees and hips, and listen. First down dog, please keep your knees really bent. Please keep your heels really lifted. Let the spine elongate, but don't worry about like all that deep stretching with legs and heels to the floor. Mainly the reason is a lot of times I see people who feel like, okay, the most important thing is to get the heels down and the legs straight, and they end up like with their shoulders way over their wrists, and it's almost like kind of a weird plank or a round in the upper back. And really the priority in down dog is to get the length in the spine, and that's much easier to do with knees bent and heels lifted. And then once you have that, then, maybe just straighten out a leg and test it out. And then switch to the other side when you're ready. But there's really no rush to get the heels to the floor. We want to think about like what's the focus of the pose. And I always feel like, although down dog is a resting pose, so that's maybe the focus. And I actually think it's also a very balanced pose in the sense that like there's a little of this, a little of that. I think that the focus in terms of energy is in the upper body. The hands are grounding, and that's really the foundation of the pose. And the legs are holding us up and keeping us stable, obviously, but it's not important that we get legs straight or heels dropped, ever. Let's walk the feet forward, coming to the top of your mat, wherever you're at, and soft knees. Let your upper body hang. I will reiterate, I say this pretty much every time I teach this Sunday class, but I think of this as a shared yoga practice, a shared home yoga practice. I'm happy to lead a sequence, but if you want to change it up and do something different than what I'm suggesting, please do. This is your practice, and whatever your body needs on a Sunday morning, it might be different than what mine needs. I'm assuming you're here because you just need some yoga. And so if the yoga I suggest is like, yeah, I don't know, I don't feel like that, take something else, another pose that feels good, stay with your practice and let that be the priority. But don't worry if you need to change it up. Soften the knees and let's roll all the way up to standing. Woo. Hello, shoulders back and down. And I do have some tea here, so I'm going to grab a sip of tea. Coming into a squat naturally to get the tea. You might join me there if you'd like. Okay. All right, let's take prostrita, so wide-legged stance. Feet parallel, let yourself fold on down. Hands can come to the floor, fingertips down between toes, palms down between feet. Lift the quads, open the backs of the legs, shifting forward, head hangs heavy, and breathe here. Also a balanced pose in the sense that it's symmetrical, so we're not working the left or the right more than the other, right? Like we should feel this working evenly. You might, however, like put your hand on your tailbone and check and see what's going on, because sometimes if we're tighter on one side, like one hip will lift up or shift more than another, right? Like so sometimes our bodies, in trying to be balanced, will try to have a balanced sensation that actually is an imbalance in our bodies if our bodies are tighter on one side. Hopefully that makes sense. But so you might check in on it if you're uncertain. And then bring your hands to your waist. Let's just go ahead and come on up. Ooh, ha, ha. I make noise in the morning when I practice. Please join me in sounds if you like. Let's turn the right toes forward, front heel and back arch line up, and then turn the back toes in a little bit. Arms out. Let's just come into triangle pose, Trikonasana here. I'll also say I have like a previous life as an actor, and I used yoga for my warm-ups all the time, but I would often combine physical and vocal warm-ups, so I got very used to like vocalizing while in poses, you know, instead of just breathing, like letting sound out. And it can feel really good. And, you know, it's, I think, a nice way to let your whole body warm up, your whole system warm up. All right, we're gonna inhale and stretch back, and then let's go ahead and shift into a standing split. If you're able to go onto one foot already this time of day, fingertips down, left leg lifts up, fold your body in. And then let's step for a low lunge. So let your left foot come to the back of your mat, or well, I mean, whatever end of your mat is behind you. I'm turned around, so you know, it doesn't matter which direction we're facing. Sink the hips forward. Keep that knee as much as you can over your ankle, just so your shin is supporting the joint. And then let the arms come up, or if you like this one, hands interlace behind the head, widen the elbows. I feel like whenever I give this option, my students always take it. I think this is one that feels good. If you are a desk working person, if you are someone who spends time driving in a car, we're always hunched forward. I mean, we don't try to do it. We try to do our best with our posture, but the tendency is to be forward facing. So to lift up and open and lean back, oh, it can feel so nice. All right, let's take fingers to the floor. Let's bring the right knee back to join the left. I'm gonna do a couple little push-ups. I'm working on my shoulder, and I wanna see if I can build strength. It's hurting for me today, so I don't wanna overdo it, but maybe like 3, 4. And these are just knee push-ups for me. If you wanna take full push-ups, go for it. But yeah, I don't wanna hurt my shoulder. All right, going all the way down. And let's land. And let's take like a baby bow pose, meaning bend your knees, grab onto the feet, but keep your thighs on the floor as you just gently pull the heels away from the hips. And it's kind of like just stretching the arms, opening the chest a little bit. And then from here, maybe just transitioning into cobra. So carefully letting the feet release and come down. Keep the chest lifted, bend the elbows, bring the hands to the mat, and then just a little push down, come up a little higher. Shoulders back, heart forward. And downward facing dog. Hooray! I'm always happy to get to down dog. It's a silly thing. Breathe here. Walk the feet up to your hands. Soft knees and roll up to stand. That rhymed. One of these days, I swear, I'm going to create an entire yoga sequence that rhymes. When I have time, I think that would be really fun. Okay, let's take the legs out wide and do a second Prasarita Padottanasana. Lift the quads, open the backs of the legs. Any variation you like. I'm going to reach for my toes in this one. So if you're doing the same, palms face inward, the first 2 fingers latch around that big toe from the inside, and then you can loop with the thumb. If you're grabbing toes, then the idea is to kind of lift on that toe, like pull up on the toe, let the shoulders come onto your back, and then as your elbows bend, your torso can draw deeper into the fold. Whatever version you're in, continue to shift your weight a little forward so the heels are not taking so much of the weight. And I know if you're holding your toes, you don't want to squash your fingers, but you can do it a little bit anyway. All right, release those toes and float up. Triangle to the left. Right toes can turn in a little bit as well. Trikonasana. Pushing the feet down, extending through the sides of the torso, Turn your head, look up to your lifted thumb. We're just, repeating what we did on the first side. And stretch it back, reach it back, woohoo. And standing split on the left this time. The right leg can rise into the air as high as it feels possible for it to go. Stepping back long with the right toes. Let the right knee lower down, and we're coming into our low lunge. Now on the other side, arms reach up, or maybe those hands come behind your head again. Whatever feels good. It's always kind of been my philosophy that yoga is meant to feel good. Challenging our body can feel good. We just don't want to get to the point where we're in pain, where we're stressing ourselves out, where we're dreading our practice, where we're wishing it would end. Like, if that's how you're feeling doing yoga, then we need to lighten up a little. So let yourself lighten up as much as you want so that you find that joy and enjoyment again. Let the hands come back to the mat. Let your left knee join the right and lower the heart. Cobra, or you could go to up dog here if that's feeling right for you, and then downward facing dog. I'm going to suggest a couple sun A's upcoming next here. I think that, those are a great way to kind of just get into the flow, full body breath. So really connecting to an ujjayi here in down dog if you can. So we're establishing that rhythm. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, look forward. As you exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Inhale, half lift, so Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding deeply Uttanasana. And then inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. And then just carry on into your first full one. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Dog. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. And then just holding in Down Dog anywhere from 1 to 5 breaths. So this is kind of up to you how long you like to stay put here. When you're ready to move on, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Half lift and fold. Reverse swan dive. And let's take one more full cycle of this sequence. When you get back to the top of your mat, you can go ahead and hold for a moment, right? So if you're here now, maybe take a couple breaths. If you're still finishing the sequence, absolutely take your time. And then we're going to come into chair pose. So with the feet together, heels slightly apart, bend the knees, just drop the hips down, take the arms alongside the ears, weight on the heels, and then standing on the right foot, let's step back to a high lunge with the left foot. So just take that all the way to the back of the mat. Keep the front knee bent as you do. And then kind of tip your body up so it feels vertical. Back leg is straight and strong, front knee deeply bent. On the ball of the back foot, just gazing forward here. And then left hand down, let's take the right arm up for an easy twist. Stack the shoulders, look on up. From here, let's kind of change the twist. So we're going to take the right hand down now inside the right foot. Pivot to the back heel, and then pushing your right shoulder against the knee, take the left arm up. Theoretically, we want to have front heel and back arch aligned now, so you might make a small adjustment with the feet. And then we're going to float up to Warrior Two. Really, the legs are already in position. Reminder to keep that knee stacked over the ankle. Flip the palms down once you're up and look over the front fingertips. Reverse warrior, stretch back. We'll just take a couple of breaths here. For me, I know my front leg is telling me it's been working. And then when you're ready, cartwheel the hands down around that front foot. Step to plank and travel through vinyasa here if you'd like to. Just breathing in down dog, nice and easy. And then on an inhale, look forward. As you exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Take a half lift. Fold Uttanasana. What the heck is my hair doing now? I'm gonna tuck it in. And then we're gonna come to chair pose again. So Utkatasana. And then this time we're gonna step the right foot back. So coming to the left for a high lunge. Find your way. Stabilize, steady, strong. And then when you're ready, going to the easy twist first. So taking the right hand down inside the left foot, left arm up, turn your body. And then shifting it, left hand inside left foot, left shoulder inside knee. Bring the back heel down and take the right arm up. This is kind of like a variation of extended side angle here. I'm gonna grab some tea while I'm here. I really like this sensation of having the shoulder right inside the knee because it can kind of press it into place. It kind of presses it open so that the shin stays vertical. And so now, as we float up to Warrior Two, we're really working to keep that front leg stable and strong. You might need to drop your right hip a little. Sometimes that right hip is up when we're in the side angle, but we want them level. Look over the front fingertips. And at this point, this front knee has been bent for a while, so you might be feeling a little heat in that muscle there. And then reverse the warrior, couple breaths. Again, that challenge, like again, if it gets to the point where like we're starting to cramp up or clench or feel pain, ease up. You can bend less, right? That will do it. But if it feels okay, hang with it, and then hands to the mat, travel through vinyasa. Holding in down dog. Let's take the right leg into the air, open the hip and bend the knee. So a little variation on our down dog split. Point the knee to the sky, let the heel drop down. And then look forward and step forward. Let's take a Warrior One here. Back heel down, come on up. Arms up, lunge deep. From here, we're gonna travel into some balance here. So we're gonna stand on the right foot, but we're gonna step and bring the left knee into the chest. So see if you can just kind of find that balance on that one leg. Now, reaching down with the left fingers, grab the big toe. If this is not possible for you, you can continue to just hold on to the left knee with your left hand. But if you've got the toe, right hand to hip, start to straighten the leg out, like by pushing the foot forward. And it might stay pretty bent. Some of you might get the leg more straight. It doesn't, you know, like there's not a perfect here. Just go where your body says yes to. And then let's see if we can take the leg open to the side. Keep the gaze up and forward. Notice if you tend to like sink into your right hip and hike up the left. Ideally, theoretically, hips should stay level here. And now we're gonna bend that knee and bring the foot behind us for dancer pose, right hand forward. This is a little balance sequence that I actually kind of love to do. I don't know why, it just feels good for me. And then carefully let that foot go. And we're gonna step to pyramid. So back foot is gonna come down, but not quite as far back as a full lunge. Might need to be a little further back. Back heel should stay down and hips should stay pretty level. Keep the front knee bent or straight as well. So not locked. We don't want to be pushing the kneecap back and hyperextending our leg, but we also don't want to be like noticeably bending the front knee. So do your best here as you fold out over that front leg. Maybe fingertips can come to the floor. This is also a great place to use blocks if you need to. And then we're gonna lean forward a little bit and step the left foot all the way back. Now we're gonna come to pigeon stretch. So really to do that, we kind of just need to scooch the right foot across the mat and then lay the right knee down. So you're on the top of your back leg. Avoid rolling all the way to your right hip. You know, we know kind of what we want for alignment here to get into the hip and glute stretch on the right. And then just bring your forearms down and allow yourself to start to fold. Again, I have no idea what my hair is doing. It's acting wonky. Now, if you're like me, you might be on your forearms in pigeon, and if you've walked your hands out, maybe come back to forearms. We're actually gonna come to Sphinx pose. So maybe keep your forearms planted, lift your hips enough so you can slide the right leg back, hips down, Sphinx pose. And then bending the left knee, reach behind you with the right hand. So opposite hand to foot, and then pull up. So it's kind of like a little half bow stretch here. And then we're gonna switch sides. So right forearm comes down, right knee bends, left hand comes back behind. And then letting that go. From Sphinx, shift to Cobra and downward facing dog. Hey, we got another side to do here. Root into the hands, lift the hips, heart back. So left leg up, open the hip and bend the knee, point the knee to the sky, drop the heel to the hip. And then looking forward, we're coming to warrior one. Step it up, back heel comes down. Okay, here, I give up on you. Lunging deep, rooting into the outer edge of the back foot. And then we're gonna step into balance here. So we're gonna step onto our left leg, bring the right knee into the chest. And then here's where we have a couple transitions while we're still balancing. This is not always easy, but it is a good practice to sometimes try to keep ourselves balanced while we are moving. So now taking the right fingers down to the right big toe. Again, you can hold the knee if you need to. Left hand on hip, and also try to keep the chest up. So this is another thing that can be challenging, is that sometimes in order to get the toe, we have to lean forward a little bit. See if you can keep your shoulders stacked over your hips and your hips level as you straighten that leg out in front of you. And then take the leg open to the side. I actually have a class coming out this week that has a lot of balancing and twisting in it, but I'm gonna give you a warning ahead of time. The shutter speed on my camera got like reset by, well, obviously by me, by mistake, but so the video quality is not very great. But I liked the sequence, so I wanted to send it out to you anyway. Let's go ahead and move to dancer pose. So bringing your right foot now behind you, continue to hold on to it that whole time if you're able to. Grabbing the inner foot, left arm comes forward, lift up and go. So yeah, so this new practice will come out Tuesday, 4:30 Central Time like usual. I know some people really just like to have that practice at that time, so I didn't want to like scrap it just because the video quality is not great, because the audio is good and it's a minimal cues practice, so you should still be able to follow it. Let's go ahead and step now to pyramid, back heel down, straighten up the front leg and fold. I sometimes feel like I'm not really tech savvy enough to be on YouTube. I make stupid mistakes all the time, and sometimes I'm like, oh, but I don't want to just throw it away. You know, this is why my channel doesn't grow. Maybe. I don't know. Not good enough at the tech. Now I'm like, in my brain, like, what did we do next last time? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, pigeon. So from here, after pyramid, we're gonna lean forward a little so you can step your right foot further back, and then kind of walking that left foot over across the mat so you can lay your shin down and set up for your pigeon stretch on the second side. Extend your toes behind you, and then folding down. All right, so take your time. Let's do the same thing coming out of this pose as we did before. So coming onto your forearms and kind of lifting your hips enough so you can slide the left foot back, Sphinx pose. And then this time you can do the same thing, kind of like that mini bow or like the one-sided half bow, or you could do another full bow pose. And we did a really baby one in the beginning of class. This might be the point where you're ready to go for it. I sometimes, if you can reach your ankles, I like to grab my ankles because then I can flex my feet, and sometimes it just gives the whole thing a little bit more structure. Come up as high as your body feels okay with. Try not to let the knees go wide. And make sure you can still breathe, of course. And then when you're ready to release, try to keep the chest lifted. We're going to go right to cobra and downward facing dog. Oh, yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling warm and stretched and like ready to start my day. So we're just going to do a little bit of final stretching at this point. Let's walk the feet forward and come to a seat. Hey, let's do a boat pose, Navasana, just to kind of get that core strength tapped in. So maybe hands behind the thighs as you let your feet and shins lift. Shoulders back, lift your heart, and then if you've got it, reach those arms. Feet down, little reverse table here. Plug the shoulder blades in, lift the hips up, chin in, or head back, back, back. Yep, snow coming down. the trees. What are you gonna do? And then lower the sit bones. Let's take Baddha Konasana here. So bringing the feet together, knees wide, and lean on in. And I'm gonna join you again, close up. Shifting forward. Really just let gravity do the work for you here, right? We don't need to pull or yank. Sometimes I don't even work the elbows against the knees, but if you do, I find, and I mean, this was obviously not something I made up myself, someone suggested this. I find that if you're pressing gently against your knees, resist a little bit. So like push your knees up against your elbows a little bit. You can let your elbows win, but I think sometimes by activating those oppositional muscles a little bit, we can get a little deeper. But again, it shouldn't be causing pain here. Okay. Let's shift to Janu Shirshasana. So you can keep your left foot tucked in, straighten that right one out. On an inhale, reach up, and then exhale, single leg stretch here. Keep the top of the leg engaged, keep the foot a little flexed so we're targeting the underside of the leg as we stretch. Once again though, that upper body can be really relaxed here. Two more full deep breaths. And then carefully coming up when you're ready. Switching to the other leg. Tuck the right foot in. Engage the left. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your ujjayi here for several breaths. We'll be here maybe 10 breaths or so. Two more breaths. And then carefully come on up. Shake out the legs a little here. And then just coming back to seated, to Sukhasana. Maybe take a sec here. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, twist to the right, left hand to the right knee. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist left. One more time each side. Inhale up. To the right. And up. And the left. And up. And palms together in front of the heart. Close your eyes. Turn your focus inward for a moment here. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so very much for joining me and sharing this practice. Namaste. All right, friends. Well, let me know if you have any questions, if you have any comments. I hope you'll join me again next Sunday, and check out the class coming up on Tuesday, despite the aforementioned poor video quality. Subscribe to my channel if you do like this type of thing, right? So I am looking to build my channel, of course, but I want people who are going to come and join me on a regular basis so we can have just like a nice little community of yogis here who really just enjoy having a home yoga practice. I'm here for your accountability. I'm here to guide you through sequences so you don't have to think about it too much. And I think that's about all I've got for today. Oh, take a little time in Shavasana. That's an important aspect. I don't like to forget to remember to mention that. So, all right, thanks again so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Namaste.